Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Hazel Adams. Thank you for joining me today. So first of all, thank you for your lovely comments on the video I put up yesterday. It really was a live energy offering that I was strongly urged by my inner guidance to share with you all. Energies, just a couple of energies that would really help us all be seated in our spirit, in our soul's sovereignty, our profound safety, and our profound empowerment as creators of our own reality, even amidst what, looks like and is chaos and craziness going on around the world, in the weather, in the governments, not just the U.S., around the world, and then very much in the U.S. as far as the government. So lots of chaos and just that safety and empowerment to be the sovereign creator of our own reality, regardless of what's going on around us. And I do so appreciate your comments. Please continue to click like and subscribe, share the videos with your friends, leave your comments. I read and answer every comment. And I will say that there's something about the way YouTube does the threads of comments that sometimes I miss a comment for a few days. Like it doesn't pop up in my notifications. I don't know why that is. But so if I don't respond to you in a timely manner, it's because I'm still making my way through the thread, or it hasn't popped up yet to show me. It's not that I'm ignoring you. So today I want to talk with you about how Donald Trump is actually facilitating the ascension. He's helping the ascension. He's aiding it. He's an agent of the change that we need. Now, I know that's not something you would normally expect to hear from me. I haven't made a secret that I have never been a fan of Donald Trump. I did not vote for him. However, I can see perfectly well that he is playing a key role in the shift of consciousness and the breakup of the old so that the new can come forth as far as the new earth and ascending into the fifth dimension. So I and many others have said over and over, things have to be broken up. Old bound systems, old things have to be broken up, split up, and dissolved to make room for the new earth, the new consciousness, new systems based in love and unity and fairness and cooperation. You have to make room. There has to be daylight for them to get oxygen and sun, so to speak. And the fact of the matter is that the systems and the world order that we've had in place from the old paradigm had become very, very entrenched, very frozen and bloated and inflexible, immovable, so that the U.S. government, for instance, had become extremely overbloated. No one's going to argue with that. There were over 400 agencies. Instead of sorting out what do we need, what's salient, what's important to us, and where have we gone off the reservation, so to speak, where have we gone off the tracks, and just sort of added on and on, that's exactly what we did. No one ever really wanted to make real change. So just energetically, it feels like the United States just kept not only throwing money at more and more things, which is true, but just sort of always adding on and jerry-rigging and jerry-rigging and jerry-rigging and kicking the can down the road to any real underlying problems just within the structure. And of course, the old structure is very much based in the old paradigm of separation, lack, competition, adversarialness. And so, of course, it was splitting into trying to do the right thing by helping everybody with lots of money and all kinds of aid. But then within that old paradigm, yeah, but there's lack and there's not enough, and you're taking away from me to give to them. And so I feel put upon, I feel taken advantage of. And so there's this huge polarity. It's all based in the old paradigm of separation and lack. And there wasn't a good way to bust up that system. How do you go into what's really like just a rat's nest of just endless adding on and just like a quagmire? How do you go into that and cleanly, surgically pull out just exactly now what you want to keep? And then, of course, all the decisions are by committee, Congress, Senate, and the president and the voters. And so anything that anybody would try to do to clear that mess out would be instantly and was instantly met with lobby groups and interest groups, and it just had become very immovable, very inflexible, very behemoth and bloated. without having much ability to really do anything about it. I almost think of like if you had a big table and you just piled everything on that table year after year, just everything that came your way, mail, trash, junk, old stuff, new stuff, anything that came your way, you just pile it on the table, just making this mountain of stuff, some of which is useful, much of which is obsolete, outdated, or even never was that useful. Who knows? It's all in there. So again, how do you go into that and clear it out and get it down to the things that fit within a new system? It was almost impossible to do. And so you had a Donald Trump. I will say plainly, Donald Trump is not of the new earth. Donald Trump is not an ascended high vibration individual. And if that offends anybody, I'm so very sorry. There is nothing he does or says or thinks that is love, unity, cooperation, best for all based. Everything he does is not my problem, deal with it, sucks to be you, keep what's ours, to heck with everybody else, and division. And we all know that. You can't not see that, even if you voted for him, even if you support his presidency. You can't think that he is promoting love and unity and cooperation and win-win best interest for everybody in the country, much less in the world. However, the agent of change that is called for doesn't have to be the solution or of the new vibration. The agent for change needs to be what he is. He disrupts. He dismisses and ignores whatever rules are in place. They don't apply to him, even law. He doesn't care what he destroys. He doesn't respect any of the institutions that the American people and government thought they respected, which that's questionable too. But the point is, there was this bloated idea of who and what we were. There was certainly a bloated, immovable, inflexible structure. And here comes Donald Trump, who is a disruptive, disintegrating energy. In other words, he is breaking up the old so that the new can come forth. So Donald Trump comes in, he doesn't care whose toes he's stepping on. He doesn't care if everybody is happy or unhappy or is taken care of or not. He just basically comes into that big table piled with all the stuff and takes his arm and whacks it off and says, yeah, we're not having any of that anymore. But he did and is achieving something that needed to happen. Bust it all apart, so that we can then go back and say, okay, what elements of what we've had in place do we need here, are important? Like, yes, we do want the children in our country to have free lunches if they're food insecure. Yes, we do want to have air traffic controllers in place. Yes, we do want a fully staffed National Weather Service and NOAA with a full complement of weather balloons and airplanes and tornado watchers so that we can have the most accurate weather forecasts. Yes, we do want weather research funds so that their weather forecasts can become even more accurate. Yeah, those things would be very good to have. So put back what is good and sort of clean out the bloat. What of our old programs are in line with a new system of fairness, and what from our old agencies are in line with a world based in love and cooperation and unity and best interest of everybody working together, a world based in heart, a world in which our leaders are coming from a place of love, heart, unity, cooperation, wanting to do what's best for everybody, where we come into a harmonious agreement of how everybody can get what they need. Leaders that actually come from that place, instead of how to be in a knife fight and knock competitors out of the arena and grab all the power for themselves. The other critical area that Trump brought his destruction and disruption and disintegration to is our world supply chain, shipping, trade practices. That's something else that had become very bloated, very locked into place, so that many countries were sort of locked into only doing business with certain other countries because that's what the United States wanted. And the United States was sort of running the show, and there were just certain trade partners, and it was very hard to get anything changed within that. So the flow of money and goods were very much locked into these sort of trenches that weren't easily moved or changed. And the same way with our financial systems. The whole financial system is based in the old paradigm that really supports most of the money going to, as you know, a very, very few, and money is energy, A very, very few holding all the energy, all the power, and basically keeping as much for themselves as they can while everybody else struggles. There's a huge imbalance there, but the systems that are in place very much support that and have supported that. That's why it's like that. So as Donald Trump has come in and broken up all the old norms, all the old paradigms, all the old patterns of goods and services and shipping and money flow, therefore, he's really busting everything up so that there is room for the new to come up. That's the main point of this. You know, I've said this before, think of a field that has been so overgrown for years with old, not just old crop, but weeds and everything else, so that it's rock hard. It's just rock hard. What's the first thing you have to do if you want to plant a fresh crop there? You have to go in with discs and bust it up. And then the clumps get busted up. And you have to actually work really hard to bust up the old, almost concrete-like system and structure to be flexible and supportive and nourishing to new growth, and for new seeds to be able to get the sunlight and the nutrients that they need. So Donald Trump, even though, again, I am not a fan, I don't see him as the answer or having the answers or being even part of the new earth. He is a critical change agent. I've said in earlier videos that I almost see him like having a big bat in his hand and the pinata that's the world as we've had it, and just very bloated and very stiff and inflexible. He comes in with his pinata and just busts it all to heck. Everything's broken, right, but now there's room to clear out what doesn't fit and to kind of start fresh. And so he's been a very, very important change agent. I almost see him as important to the history of this country, the U.S., maybe the world, because everything he's done has had such an effect on the whole world, as perhaps Abraham Lincoln. I say that because Abraham Lincoln was an instrumental energy that came in, not by accident, at exactly the time he needed to come in to facilitate the U.S. going on the trajectory of staying together as the U.S., as the United States of America. Abraham Lincoln was the exact personality needed. He incarnated to be that energetic agent that guided the country into one probable future versus another probable future where it didn't hang together as one United States of America. I see Trump as equally important in a different way. It has been said of him when he was in his, he was sent to military school, the headmaster of the military school evidently said that he was disruptive and destructive. He was evidently a very naughty child. That's why he was sent to military school. He was out of control. His parents couldn't control him because he was always being disruptive and destructive. That's his energy. Well, he is exactly what was called for to bust up this frozen mess of old paradigm, old energy, old systems and institutions, break it all up so that it's not quite unrecognizable, but really broken up so that it can be changed, and then we can move on from there and build new systems. Again, build in the love unity paradigm. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and insights about this. I thank you for staying with me today. I hope something I said today will be helpful to you in some way. I will be doing a live spirit talk this Sunday, July 13th at noon Eastern. This is an hour-long interactive group call done via Zoom, and it is free, or donate what you wish. You're free to attend. I'll leave a link below to register for that. So I hope you'll join us, and thank you for staying with me today. Have a blessed, magical day.